No matter how skilled, fast, intelligent, or strong you are, there will always be someone out there who surpasses you in some way. However, you have control over one thing: the effort. To succeed, you must outwork your competition. When you find yourself falling behind, do you give up and make excuses? Do you allow it to justify slacking off or engaging in bad habits? Or do you see it as an opportunity to work harder and excel? The moments when you push yourself to perform better are what propel you to higher levels. Becoming number one requires pushing yourself to the limits of your capabilities. Legends are made in the quiet moments of a relentless pursuit, not in simply participating. Something I hear way too often is, you just need to turn up, which I believe is the attitude of the mediocre. I moved to the States about 6 years ago, and it was the first time I've been surrounded by hustlers, people who are just ruthless in their pursuit to success. I moved to this country because I had a mate who, to be honest, I didn't know extremely well beforehand, but he'd opened up a few gyms with his buddies in San Diego and LA. We both had this common goal of success, so we always got along purely just from that. He asked me to come over and manage one of those gyms. The day I got off the plane, we went to grab some drinks, and I said to them, "You boys always look like you're out partying. How have you been able to run these successful businesses?" One of them goes to me, "It's not just about turning up. It doesn't matter whether you're tired or hungover. When you turn up, you perform." That changed everything in me that day. Before that day, I felt like I had to show people that all the time I was battling through something, but you know what? I got through anyway. Does that sound familiar to you? Have you ever turned up to work after having a bad night's sleep and felt the need to tell everyone? You move slowly and speak slowly, trying to make it obvious that you're struggling. But hey, you still turned up, right? Have you ever rocked up to a game or to a workout with a bit of a shoulder pain, and you felt the need to wince every time you did something involving your shoulder so that everyone else could see you're in pain? I would go out of my way to do things like I'd stay back and clean, but I would always leave like one or two things behind, so it was obvious something had been done. I guess to have someone point out so that I could say, "Oh, sorry, I stayed back to clean, but I just must have missed something because I was so tired." I know that sounds ridiculous, but I bet if you thought back, you'd have moments that are pretty much the same that you could also relate to. I was essentially training myself to be mediocre. I was telling myself to intentionally hold back just to get the recognition of saying, "But at least I turned up." I'm going to tell you this straight. People don't care about effort, they care about results. They might cheer you on and give you a pat on the back, but are they going to promote someone who is unreliable? Are they going to give you a raise because you turned up to work anyway, even though the work was crap? No, you just did the bare minimum. If you feel like getting a burger, are you going somewhere to eat that has a burger that tastes like crap, but the guy who made them, he meant for it to taste good, right? But it's okay. At least he turned up to make that burger. No, you go into the place that actually makes delicious burgers. A lot of us need to think about the way we speak to ourselves. How you speak to yourself, the person that you say you are, the standards that you set for yourself are who you become. The way you act is how people see you. And while you might try to say that you shouldn't care about what anyone else thinks, you should. Have you ever been on a diet and the dessert comes out, so you say to yourself, "Oh, that looks so delicious, but I'm too strong for that, I'm on a diet." And then all of a sudden you say this out loud. You think people need to hear this so that they don't try to force you into it. You say, "Oh, no, I'm on a diet, I can't eat that." You have just defined yourself as someone who eats dessert, someone who likes it, but temporarily you're not. Instead, tell yourself that you don't eat sweets. Tell your friends that you don't eat sweets. People then stop offering you sweets. The temptation goes, you no longer have to tell yourself you don't want it. Instead, you just don't eat it. Have you ever experienced a time where you put a lot of effort into something and got told off for a few of the small mistakes that you made, rather than the recognition for all the good stuff that you did? You probably thought, if only they knew how much effort I put into this after hours over the weekend. You probably didn't think to double check over everything because all of that stuff you did, you felt like you'd done enough. You're essentially telling yourself that it's okay not to live at the best quality because you still took the time to do the work. At the end of the day, do you think you're going to get that promotion if your boss always has to fix everything that you deliver? Okay, so maybe you're an entrepreneur, you run your own business, or you want to run your own business. How about your staff? Do you think your staff is ever going to strive to do well when you yourself aren't even going to go above and beyond? Are they going to grind for you when you can only just earn 10 handle turning up? What about your customers, your potential investors? They dictate your success, whether you like it or not. So start being better at thinking about how you're being seen. I remember listening to Toni Robbins, and he said the line, "You are your standards." A lot of us set the bar too low. I would rather set the bar too high and fall short than set it too low and for it to hit. We live in a world of mediocrity, of participation awards. You don't even have to do anything now. You don't even have to be the best and you get a trophy. It takes individuals to personally motivate themselves to accept that that's not good enough. When you get a participation award, are you excited because you actually got some recognition? Or are you upset because you got the same thing as everyone else got for turning up and you didn't get that best and fairest award? You are your standards, and if your standard is just turning up, then you'll continue to just turn up, and the time you spend doing things is essentially going to be wasted by staying the same. You clock in, you clock out. You do the necessary tasks because it's better than doing nothing, and then you go home. But when do you get the time to grow and work on things that are going to make your business succeed and grow? I turn up to my business at 5 a.m. in the mornings because that's when we open. When I come home, I know my family is going to be active, they're going to be moving around, they're going to be a distraction, and I just want to spend time with them, to be honest. So what do? I get up at 3 a.m. This is where I write these stories. This is where I record these videos. This is where I work on those side hustles. I work on my future projects because even though I love what I do, I know I can do more. I know I am capable of doing more, and so I do it at the time where I need to do it, not just when I want to do it. I don't have to motivate myself to get up that time because there are a lot of mornings where I don't feel motivated. I do it because this is what I do. This is who I am. That is my standard. I do what I need to do, not what I want to do. A lot of people talk about how you should just be the best you that there is. Do you think Michael Jordan just wanted to be the best him that there is? No, he wanted to be the best that anyone was. Do you think Michael Phelps only ever wanted to be the best him that he could be? No, he wanted to be the best swimmer that ever lived. No one excels at just being the best version of themselves. Now, yes, of course, you have to do it for yourself, and ultimately that's why we do things. But if your benchmark is you, the only things you're ever going to be able to accomplish is stuff that you've already done. We make money and we acquire success by our value in the marketplace. Your value is based on context. If you want to start a YouTube channel, why is someone going to watch your video over someone else's? Because yours is better. If you want to create a clothing line, why is someone going to spend more money or buy more of your shirts than anyone else? Because yours is better. Sometimes we need to be competitive. We need to have someone at our heels to know how fast we need to run. Kobe Bryant would turn up to practice before anyone, and he would stay there until the last person left. Why? Because he had to be the person that did more than anyone else. He didn't just turn up at 3 p.m, leave at 4 p.m, because that's when practice was scheduled. He didn't do just what he was supposed to do, he did what he needed to do. We need to have this fear of failure, this excitement for success to drive us to do more than we could by ourselves. I absolutely thrive by being in a group setting because then I know how hard I need to work, then I know how much I need to do in comparison to the people around me. My wife always says to me, "Why is everything a competition to you?" I honestly don't think about how I can turn everything into a competition. It's automatic. It's an ongoing habit that I've developed. Everything I do, I naturally look for how I can do things the fastest, the most efficient, the most effective. If we go for a walk with the dogs, I have to be the one that gets back to the house first. When we carry groceries inside, I have to be the one that carries the most bags. When I work out around people, I have to be the one that does that one extra rep. I have to find a way to make those exercises more challenging. That might sound stupid, it might sound exhausting, but imagine going to every aspect of your life with this standard for yourself. When it comes time for those important decisions, those important parts of your life, it becomes easy. When you need to make that sale, when you need to start that company, this habit will be there to ensure execution. You don't have to motivate yourself. You don't have to push yourself. Your habits will do it for you. Without developing this habit of competing, are you ever going to do that extra follow-up to sign up a client? Or are you going to let someone else do it? Yeah, you might do it on the days that you're motivated, but what about the days that you don't? We have 365 days in a year. Are you going to use those 365 days? I guarantee you're not going to be motivated for those 365 days. So does that mean you're just going to do it on days that you are motivated? Now, don't spin this the wrong way. You don't surround yourself with losers in order to be the best at everything. You would rather be the stupidest person in a group of geniuses and intellects than the smartest person in a group of idiots. It's about using others to bring you up, not trying to take the world down. It is using other people's accomplishments and successes as a way to expect more from yourself. When I run my classes, I often say, set yourself a high standard. Look the way you want to be seen. People are always watching, and whether your goal is to impress people or not, use this as something that will help you to raise your standards. If you're embarrassed by how you look or what people think of you, then that is what you think of you. If you have this goal to look a specific way, then tell yourself that is who you are. You're not an overweight person that wants to lose weight. You're a fit person who let themselves go for a little bit. Your body's going to take on whatever message you give it. When I'm in a group and I'm working out, my goal is to always look the best and be the last person working. My expectations that I set for myself is I'm a dominant person in the room, and just by needing to be that every single time I'm around other people, I become the most dominant person in that room. I force myself to do that extra rep. I force myself to ensure that my technique is perfect, that I'm doing everything exactly right because I know people are watching. And even if they're not, I tell myself that they're watching so that I do this over and over and over again, and eventually I become that person. When a situation arises at work that needs to be addressed, I make myself resolve it before anyone else does. I don't get it done eventually, I get it done when it needs to be done. No matter how small or insignificant it is, I become that person that gets done. Refuse to accept your current circumstances as your destiny. Fight every day to improve, eliminating weaknesses and cultivating discipline. By shutting down laziness and executing every single day, you build mental strength, and more importantly, you build the mental habit. The habit of doing more, not less. The habit of doing what you need to do, not what you want to do. I'm not here merely to motivate you. You don't know me. I don't mean anything to you. You don't need another cliche video of someone yelling at you, telling you, you just need to wake up and go hard, or stop giving up. Because an hour into the day, the motivation will fade, and it will, just like it does every day. So what have you really gained? Can you implement anything valuable into your life that will actually take you from a life of dissatisfaction? It's time to stop trying to motivate yourself. Instead, take a step back and define your standards. Who do you want to be? What are the values and the principles that matter to you? Once you have a clear vision, start chipping away at it. Sure, it might require some initial motivation, but the key is to be relentless. Keep pushing forward until your actions become automatic, habitual, and natural. Stop turning up and start doing what actually needs to be done. Define your standards, change the way you speak to yourself, and aim for that best and fairest award rather than accepting the participation award.